If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, it's Mishel from Deception Bytes, and it's Saturday, March 16th, and it's 5:14 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm trying to get us on a little earlier schedule, and I told myself, you're doing it early today. And I listened to myself as well. Now I'm going to get off this infinity screen because I know it drives people just completely bonkers. So anyway, let me tell you what happened last night and why I'm starting earlier tonight. Because last night I had a guest over, and by the way, if you are here just perusing Q and not a regular listener and don't care, just skip forward a few minutes because I got a few little housekeeping items to do, and then we're going to be moving on rather quickly. So anyway, last night I have these guests, and I made some roast beef, mashed potatoes, gravy, corn, casserole, cake, just the whole 9 yards. And because I live alone, I don't generally make big meals, especially for myself. I do cook for myself, but I don't make huge meals. So after my guests had gone and I'd cleaned up, I wasn't used to having a meal that big. So I laid on the couch and I thought, okay, well, I've got everything set up, ready to record. I'm just going to take 5 minutes and just close my eyes. So, and it was all ready to record. It was all set. I just had to walk in, sit into this chair and press record. But no, I woke up and it was after midnight. So yeah, that's why I didn't record last night. My meal was sitting like a rock in my belly. Not like a rack in my belly, but a rock in my belly. So there you go. And tonight I said to myself, you're going to get an early start and you're going to get us all caught up. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get caught up. Now, let me just say this and then we will run right into this. Thank you so much, you guys that have become Patreon members. I appreciate it because it's a way, even if it's just $1 that you pledge a month, it helps a lot, because if there's several that pledge $1, that's great. And having said that, I also appreciate very, very much those of you that buy me coffee. In fact, some of the coffee money that I got this month, I reinvested, and I got some really good lighting. It's on its way. They say it's been delivered, but it hasn't. So I've got to track that down, and hopefully that will make an improvement. I am wanting to improve the channel, but here is something else that I intend on doing in the very, very near future. I want to start putting stuff on Patreon that I do not put on Facebook now, or YouTube rather, sorry, because the stuff that I'll put on Patreon is more personal stuff, maybe answering questions, maybe just chatting, maybe whatever you'd like me to post about that is mainly for the main listeners, the listeners that have been here from the start, or new listeners, new friends. They're great too. So anyway, I want to start putting some things on there, and particularly if I'm sick or away and you're wondering where I am, I can leave a message there and you all can go there and get that message. Now, I don't want to make it so that you have to be a Patreon member and that you have to give money in order to see this, because I'm not all about that. That's not cool as far as I'm concerned, and I'll tell you why. There's a lot of people that listen that are on fixed incomes. They're retired, they're disabled, or they could be out of work, or they could be just struggling financially. I don't want to punish these people. Why should I? I want everybody to have access equally. So there you go. But I am going to start using Patreon, and I will give you that link. Well, the link is up there actually, but I will let you know when I start posting things there, because a lot of people say, oh, wouldn't it be great if we knew when you were going to be away or whatever. Well, I do try to tell people, but it might be good if I had a central place to put that, so that you could go and say, oh, okay, she's gone, she's going to be posting tomorrow. I just think that would be good, and it would save people having to go out and keep looking and, oh, she hasn't posted. Now, in a situation like last night where I just fell asleep because I'm lazy, I guess, I don't know, or ate too much, then that wouldn't help. But generally, You know what I'm saying. All right, I'll stop flapping my gums now and let's get into this. This is one of the first ones that we missed from March 14th, so we're going to take a look at that first. And let's go. Hopefully my computer will be fast, or at least semi. Oy. Hang on, here we go. All right, this is from Filthy Liberals, posted by Q, and we're going to take a listen to this. It says, this is about to break wide open, and many of these players are about to see a day of reckoning. Hashtag QAnon. Oh, a day of reckoning unlike they've seen before. I agree with that. Let's listen.
Evidence of any collusion. But then I'm also hearing, well, what's the IG going to come out about FISA abuse? What is John Uber doing? Does anybody even know?
You know, I think there's a new sheriff in town with the new Attorney General, Bill Barr, and I think a lot of things are changing internally in the Justice Department. We can't see them, but Andrew Weissman's departure today is an example of the overturn and change that we're going to see in the next few months. I think the single most important thing that will happen, as soon as Bob Mueller's report comes in, as soon as the president is no longer in legal jeopardy, it's incumbent upon the president to declassify those documents. Yes. Let us see the FBI's true activity for what it is, not for what it was made to look like for a 2-year mirage.
Testimony saying no, it was the DOJ. And Lisa Page said, yep, they told us to stand down on Hillary Clinton.
Will Congress, I would have got to believe that the Attorney General now, Lynch, we've got to see her emails. We've got to see her correspondence. We've got to, now that it's pointing in that direction. And I also think we have a legitimate question. What did President Obama know? When did he know it? Jim.
No, I agree, Sean. Never forget the code names they gave him. The Clinton investigation was called the mid-year exam. The Trump-Russia investigation was called Crossfire Hurricane. That shows you the bias that existed right from the get-go.
All right. Do you all agree with this statement? You can shake your heads. This is about to break wide open, and many of these players are about to see a day of reckoning. Yes or no? Shake your head.
Yes.
Yes. I hope so, too.
My sources are telling me the same. All right, stay tuned. We were right from the get-go.
And we know
there's no evidence of any collusion.
Some of his sources are, don't we? So we know that his sources are reliable. And all of these men shake their head. Yes, this is about to break wide open. Yes, many are going to see a day of reckoning. This is all good news. And we know that the DOJ was told to stand down in terms of the Hillary Clinton emails. We've known that for a very long time, probably about a year, and yet now it's just coming out. So yeah, we've been ahead of this, and not because of any of us and because any of us are so smart, but because of Q and because of his line of questioning has made us look into these things and find out for ourselves. So let's go back, and we're going to go up to the next, and this is the next from March 14th, the next drop, Q drop from March 14th. Be vigilant at all times. US, UK, France, Italy. So he's telling us that these 4 countries need to be vigilant. US, UK, France, Italy. See something, say something. Narrative change needed. What's he mean by that? Well, whenever the narrative starts moving in a way that is harmful to the deep state, harmful to the cabal, then something happens miraculously to change that narrative back into their and away from what they want it steered away from. In this case, it's all this information coming out, and they attempted a false flag with what happened in I'm just going to say the 2 letters of the country, NZ, because that is being highly, highly, highly censored. Highly censored. And people have already lost their YouTube channel over talking about it. So not going to go into a lot of detail because you and I both know that all the earmarks are there. They're all there. So I think that this was something to take the narrative off of all of this stuff that's coming out right now that is so damaging to them. I mean, highly, highly, highly damaging to them. And they need something to get to change that. So it wouldn't surprise me if they attempt it again. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. And that's exactly what Q is telling us to be on the lookout for. So, see something, say something, narrative change needed. Fake news attempting to rebrand harmful testimony and instead provide misleading info to their readers. Example. And we are going to go out to this example and see what Q is giving to us here. And we've got, it's slow, but here it goes. All right. In newly released transcript, former FBI lawyer fires back on charges that anti-Trump bias affected Trump and Clinton probes. You see, she has come out with such highly damaging testimony. I mean, highly, telling us that they were told to stand down, that it was ordered by Obama. I mean, there's a lot of damaging words in her testimonies. So see how they're trying to spin this around by saying, oh, but, there wasn't any anti-Trump bias, that affected this. Well, how can that be? How can that be? They were told to stand down on the investigation. Is that not bias on somebody's part? Maybe not theirs, but we've seen the emails they sent back and forth about getting Trump out and the insurance policy and everything. So yeah, they're just trying to respin this. Former FBI lawyer Lisa Page defended herself and the Bureau last year against accusations that bias against Donald Trump affected federal investigations of the Trump campaign, suspected Russia ties, and of Hillary Clinton's emails, according to a transcript released Tuesday by the top Republican of the House Judiciary Committee. Page, who came to prominence over anti-Trump texts she exchanged with former FBI counterintelligence official Peter Strzok, while both were assigned to the Clinton and Trump investigations, stressed that senior Bureau officials were also expressing anti-Clinton animus, but that neither affected how agents working those cases carried out their jobs. Many of us in law enforcement dislike the subject of our investigations. We are not keen on pedophiles and fraudsters and spies and human traffickers, Page said. That is fine. What would be impermissible is to take that harsh language and to act in some way that was illegal or against the rules, and we don't do it. A representative for Page did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Page transcript is the second release in the past week by the panel's ranking Republican Douglas A. Collins in an effort to make public the record of the now completed GOP-led probe of how federal law enforcement agencies conducted the two probes. The first, from a session that the Judiciary and Oversight Committees held last year with Bruce Orr, was derided by Democrats as an attempt to resurrect old political talking points in an effort to distract from current congressional investigations of President Trump and an expected report from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. So basically, they are, they're not coming out with the most damaging pieces of evidence from her transcript. No, instead they're trying to repackage it, and that's exactly what they're doing. So let's go back here, and he says, enemy of the people, and fake news attempting to rebrand harmful testimony and instead provide misleading info to their readers. And the Washington Post is guilty as charged. Enemy of the people, Q. Enemy of the people, indeed. Now, this is interesting. This Anon here says, aren't you missing NZ, their boss? And we know, of course, what that is without me getting into it. Q responds, and this is interesting in light of what we just read. He says, not big enough to pull headline news away. Think days. Q. So I think what he's saying is, look, yeah, that was big, and it was probably meant, because I believe wholeheartedly now that I've looked into it, that it was a false flag. no question in my mind. So, and I don't want to get into all the details of that because right now they are hyper sensitive to that. But definitely, as far as I'm concerned, a false flag and meant to pull the narrative away from what is happening here domestically. But Q is saying, well, it wasn't big enough to pull the headline news away. So think days, Q. So they've got, I guess, days. I would think from what I read here, that's how I would understand it. But you know, different people look at things different ways, and you may look at it differently. And if so, put it in the comments below. But I think he's saying, you know, that it's days away. So, and be vigilant, because you can expect that. I mean, this is just their MO, right? It's what they do. Bad stuff comes out in the news that they don't want out. Well, a false flag happens to pull the narrative away. That's what they do. They're good at it. So we can already know what's going to happen or what may happen, and we need to stay vigilant. Hopefully, they'll be able to stop anything before it's, you know, it's committed. Let's at least hope and pray that that is the case. We don't need more innocent people being killed. All right, and here is the next one, and it says there's a link to a news article here, and it says tomorrow is Friday. Q. And let's look at this. All right, the DOJ reached agreement with Clinton lawyers to block FBI access to Clinton Foundation emails, Strzok says. Now, the deadline to have those emails provided was Friday, yesterday, the 15th. So
we're now seeing insight through Lisa Page's testimony, through Peter Strzok's discussion of this, that it was the department.
There we go. All right, so the Justice Department negotiated an agreement with Hillary Clinton's legal team that ensured the FBI did not have access to emails on her private servers relating to the Clinton Foundation. Former FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok testified during a closed-door appearance before the House Judiciary Committee last summer, according to a newly released transcript. Republicans late last year renewed their efforts to probe the Clinton Foundation after tax documents showed a plunge in its incoming donations after Clinton's 2016 presidential election. The numbers fueled long-standing allegations of possible pay-to-play transactions at the organization amid a Justice Department probe covering foundation issues. Under questioning from Judiciary Committee General Counsel Zachary Summers, Strzok acknowledged that Clinton's private personal email servers contained a mixture of emails relating to the Clinton Foundation, her work as Secretary of State, and other matters. Were you given access to Clinton Foundation related emails as part of the investigation? Summer asked. We were not. We did not have access, Strzok responded. My recollection is that the access to those emails were based on consent that was negotiated between the Department of Justice attorneys and counsel for Clinton. Although the FBI eventually took possession of the servers, Strzok continued, the possession was based upon the negotiation of Department of Justice attorneys for consent. A significant filter team was employed by the FBI, Strzok said, to work through the various terms of the various consent agreements. Limitations imposed on agent searches included date ranges and names of domains and people, Strzok said, among other categories. The agreement was reached, Strzok said, because according to the attorney, we lacked probable cause to get a search warrant for those servers and projected that it would take a long time and or would be impossible to get to the point where we could obtain probable cause to get a warrant. Strzok did not elaborate on whether prosecutors made any effort to secure a search warrant, which would have delineated precisely what agents could and could not search. But Strzok later said that the agents had access to the entire universe of information of the Okay, sorry, I was looking at this little cat and bunny over there. Can you tell I have ADD? Anyway, but Strzok said later that agents had access to the entire universe of information on the servers when using search terms to probe their contents. He also told Summers that we had it voluntarily, although it was unclear if he meant all emails on the servers, including ones related to the Clinton Foundation. Former Utah Representative Jason Chavez, who chaired the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee till 2017 and is now a Fox News contributor, said the arrangement signaled that agents wanted willful blindness. They had no interest in pursuing the truth. And that is by former Oversight Committee Chair, Representative Jason Chavez. What's bizarre about this is, in any other situation, there's no possible way that they would allow the potential perpetrator to self-select when the FBI get to see what the FBI get to see, Chavez said, noting that the FBI was aware that the servers contained classified information in unclassified settings. The FBI should be the one to sort through those emails, not Clinton attorneys. The DOJ's goal, Chavez said, was to make sure they hear no evil, see no evil. They had no interest in pursuing the truth. And of course, we know that, and we know that they were told to stand down. The Clinton Foundation isn't supposed to be communicating with the State Department anyway, Chavez continued. The foundation, with her name on it, is not supposed to be communicating with the senior officials at the State Department. The Clinton Foundation did not respond to Fox News' request for comment. So let's see how much there is left here. I think we're just going to go back to the comments at this point, and will give us all we need to know. So this is a comment by Extrovert Covert, and he says, link to Fox News is DOJ reached agreement with Clinton lawyers to block FBI access to Clinton Foundation emails, Strzok says. Text, tomorrow is Friday. Friday? Added to Anon files from 8chan. Okay, now this is from 3:15. This is from an Anon. This was dated yesterday. Although the FBI eventually took possession of the servers, Strzok continued, the possession was based upon the negotiation of the Department of Justice attorneys for consent. A significant filter team was employed at the FBI, Strzok said, to work through the various terms of the various consent agreements. Limitations imposed on agents' searches included date ranges and names of domains and people, Strzok said, among other categories. The agreement was reached, Strzok said, because according to the attorneys, we lacked probable cause to get a search warrant for those servers and projected that either it would take a very long time and or it would be impossible to get to the point where we could obtain probable cause to get a warrant. And then beneath here, by another Anon on the same date, Friday the 15th of March, deadline day for the judge to unseal the emails. So Friday was the deadline day for the judge to unseal the emails. And let's see if I have anything else. Nope, I do not, and we can go on. Now, the next is a flag that we've seen lots of times before, and it was always labeled as the freedom flag. Well, we have the flag here, but the name of this is freedom_justice. Now, I think that's interesting. Does this maybe perhaps indicate that we're moving into the final phase, which is justice? Perhaps. What was previously known as the freedom flag is now labeled freedom justice. We are entering the final phase, justice. That is how I would interpret this. You may interpret this different, and your interpretation is just as valid as mine. It takes all of us. If you have any other comments on that, please put them in the comments below. Many of us comb through those comments. I most certainly do. So, but that is how I would interpret that. All right, now we're on to March 15th. Actually, right. We've left 14th and we're on to the 15th now. I'm getting myself all confused. So that's what happens when you're all full of roast beef. That's what happens. Okay, yes, this was the 14th. We have now, with the flag post, entered into the 15th. So if that makes you happy, we're on the 15th now. Now we're only one day behind. And we're not behind today because Q has not posted today yet. That doesn't mean he won't, but we'll keep an eye on that. Not literally, because that would be painful. All right. Let's take a look at this. No, really, let's. All right. Oh my gosh, a yawn just like leapt into my chest. All right, so this from the Daily Mail, and I think you'll find this interesting. If you don't, you'll surprise me, because I think I know you guys fairly well. I think you'll find it interesting. Delete Facebook now. WhatsApp co-founder accuses Mark Zuckerberg of trading privacy for revenue after allowing ads on the platform. Brian Acton sold WhatsApp to Facebook for $14 billion, yeah, just $14 billion, in 2014 and left in 2017. Defending his decision, he said that he was thinking about his employees. He called for people to reject Facebook by deleting the apps from their phones. The former CEO didn't agree with Facebook's monetizing strategy on WhatsApp. So, WhatsApp co-founder Brian Acton urged people to delete their Facebook accounts now during an address made to students. Mr. Acton, now head of nonprofit WhatsApp rival Signal, blasted Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg for trading privacy for revenue by allowing ads on his platform. He has now called for people to reject Facebook by deleting its family of apps from their smartphones and other devices. But from what I understand, deleting it does no good. It's still in there. Like if you have these apps on there, you know, Facebook or anything associated with Facebook, you can delete it, but it's still there. So I don't know what good that would do, really, deleting it. I don't know. It comes after the world's largest social network has been beset by a string of privacy scandals. Mr. Acton has been openly critical of Silicon Valley firms like Facebook and Google in the past for their seemingly profit-driven approach at the expense of people's data. It is the second time that Mr. Acton has made the comment publicly. Last year, he posted on Twitter, "It's time. Delete Facebook. Following Facebook's failing involving a political consultancy firm. The data of 87 million users was improperly accessed by Cambridge Analytica, linked to the 2016 Trump presidential campaign." Facebook is also facing a slew of lawsuits and regulatory inquiries over its privacy practices, including ongoing investigations by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and 2 state agencies in New York. Get rid of the Facebook stock if you have it. Really, it's not looking good for Facebook. Now, don't take financial advice from me. I'm just saying I would not have Facebook stock at this time. I would get rid of it if I had it. I would cut my losses and get out because I don't think things are going to go well for them at all. All right. In 2014, Acton sold the instant messaging service to Mark Zuckerberg for $19 billion and left in 2017 over its plans to introduce ads to the app. Mr. Acton defended his decision to sell, saying that he wanted his employees and investors to profit and he didn't have the power or clout to say no. Speaking at Stanford University in California, Mr. Acton said, "I have 50 employees and I had to think about them and the money that they would make from the sale. I have to think about our investors and I had to think about my minority stake. I didn't have the full clout to say no if I wanted to." So there you go. And it says the former CEO said that he did not agree with Facebook's monetizing strategy on WhatsApp. Jan Koum, WhatsApp co-founder also left Facebook a year later in 2018 because he reportedly didn't agree with their approach to user data and privacy. Both Mr. Acton and Mr. Coombe had tried to find a way to monetize WhatsApp without bombarding users with adverts. He said that he pushed for a business model that would charge WhatsApp users $1 a year to use the app, as the company did in its early days. It is time, says Brian Acton, delete Facebook. The pair hoped a service model could align their interests with the user's need for privacy and security to counter Facebook's data harvesting to help advertisers target users. It was not extraordinarily money-making, and if you have 1 billion users, you're going to have 1 billion in revenue per year, Mr. Acton said. That's not what Google and Facebook want. They want multi-billions of dollars. In an interview with Forbes, Mr. Acton described how Facebook had set goals for WhatsApp to hit a revenue run rate of $10 billion within 5 years by pushing ads. He also spoke to the company plans to offer businesses ways to directly communicate with users. The capitalistic profit motive, or answering to Wall Street, is what's driving expansion of invasion of data privacy and driving the expansion of a lot of negative outcomes that we're just not happy with, he said. I wish there were guardrails there. I wish that there were ways to rein it in. I have yet to see that manifest, and that scares me. All right, I think that is enough of that. We already know all of the other sins of Facebook. They are numerous and mounting daily. And let's go back to Q. So, interesting. Q is saying dark to light. Now, Q. Now, what's he talking about? Well, I think he's saying all this stuff that was been in the dark for all this time. You never really heard much in the past. I mean, we have in the recent past, but in the far past, we have not heard anything about privacy with Facebook. People didn't worry about that. They put everything on there. But all of this stuff about Facebook's origins, where it came from, what its ultimate purpose was and is, and the fact that, you know, even WhatsApp founder says, delete Facebook. You know, they're greedy and they're using your data. So dark to light, all this stuff is coming out incrementally and a little bit each day. It seems like every single day more stuff is coming out, and it's hard to keep up with. I still haven't read the testimony of Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and Bruce Orr, and it's out there to be read. I want to read that. I want to bring you guys the pertinent points, but my gosh, that's a lot of work because stuff is coming out every day, and you want to look at it. You want to have, you know, kind of a broad grasp of everything that's going on, and it's getting very difficult anymore to have a broad grasp of what's going on because there's all these little things that you want to dive into. I mean, I want to dive into those testimonies. I think there's probably lots of juicy stuff in there, really juicy enough to need a napkin. All right, let's go on. Hopefully I'm going to find the time real soon to get into those testimonies, and I'll warn you when you need your napkins. Okay, now let's look at the next one, which is this, and it has a Twitter link, and we're going to go out and look at that right now. And again, Q says dark to light. Q. So let's go take a look. No, really. Let's. Here we go. The hamsters are running fast today. All right. Let's get rid of this. Now, says must watch video. Joint Chiefs Chairman says Google refuses to work with the U.S. military, but provides direct benefit to China's military. Say what? That's what it says. Refuses to work with U.S. military, but not adverse to working with China's military. Yeah. Well, again, I'm glad I don't have any stock in Google because I think that they are quite unsavory. Let's just put it that way. Highly unsavory. I spit you out, Google. All right. Let's listen to this, even though I don't want to, but let's listen to it anyway.
Direct benefit to the Chinese military. Google is doing in China is indirectly benefiting the Chinese military. And I've been very public on this issue as well. In fact, the way I described it to our industry partners is, look, we're the good guys. In the values that we represent, in the system that we represent, is the one that will allow and has allowed you to thrive, and that's the way I've characterized it. So I was just nodding that what the Secretary was articulating is a general sense of all of us as leaders, and we watch with great concern when industry partners work in China, knowing that there is that indirect benefit. And frankly, indirect may be not a full characterization of the way it really is. It's more of a direct benefit to the Chinese military.
I just want to underscore this for the record so that we are absolutely, perfectly, 100% clear here that Google, an American company based in this country, so again, it's supposedly an American company, is doing work in China that directly or indirectly benefits the Chinese government at a time of increased peer competition with this country. We are in a struggle with the Chinese government over whether or not they're going to become a regional and maybe global hegemon with values very different from ours, certainly values that do not favor freedom in the world. And we have an American company that does not want to do work with our Defense Department, which is one thing, but they're happy to help the Chinese, at least the Chinese government, that is, the Chinese military, at least indirectly. I think that's just extraordinary.
Interesting. Josh Hawley is constitutional lawyer, and he's also the U.S. Senator from Missouri. He just strikes me as a very intelligent man, very well spoken, but fascinating what they're saying here. Fascinating. Not that we don't know. I mean, we knew about Google in China way back. Where did we hear that from? Q. And all this stuff's coming out, right? Dark to light, and that is what Q is telling us. So let's go back here and let's go on. And it says Google, well, I guess, yeah, we already said that. Google refuses to work with U.S. military but provides direct benefit to China. Well, isn't that lovely? Isn't that special? And let's go up to the next one. Now, Q is saying these people are sick and evil. It's not a coincidence. It never is. Q. Now, I did not know what Q was directing this to, because I mean, he says this all the time, right? These people are sick, these people are stupid, but I didn't know what it was in reference to. So I went to the 8chan board and figured it out, and he was responding to this anon, and this anon placed this, and it says, of course, it's the Star of David, which, you know, 666, because it has 6 sides. It can also be a pentagram when it's turned the other way. 6 points, 6 triangles, 6 sides. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666, Revelations 13:18. And this anon said this is not a coincidence. And Q says, these people are sick and evil. It is not a coincidence. It never is. Q. Now, let me just jump in here real quick, okay? Because when I find people slamming Jews on this channel, I delete it. And I'll tell you why. Because, yes, there is such a thing as Zionism, which is a very, very different from traditional Jewry. So I'm not unaware of that at all. But I don't like a lot of this talk because it's not, a lot of the stuff against the Jews is based in fear, it's based in anti-Semitism, and yes, I realize that there is such a thing as Zionists, and they are not for the good of the Jewish people, or for the good of anyone for that matter, but I'm going to save that conversation. I just don't like to enter into it on the comments at all. I'm not anti-Semitic. Actually, one of my best friends in the entire world is Jewish, and her husband is Orthodox Jew. She actually became a born-again Christian, but they remain together. They have a wonderful, wonderful relationship, and they respect one another. But yeah, it's hard for me because I am so close to it, and because my best friend is Jewish, that it's hard for me. So anyway, let me just say I don't like those comments. I don't like comments against anyone. I mean, in terms of just picking them out for skin color or what they believe or whatever. I don't agree with what the Muslims believe. I don't agree at all. I believe that there is one God, but you know, I don't wish them harm. I mean, if they're coming after me with a machete to chop off my head, then yeah, I might whip out a gun. Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. All right, let's go on. I've gone off in somewhere. I don't know where I am. Okay, let's look at this. Maybe. Okay, today, Chairman Lindsey Graham sent a letter to AG Barr requesting documents related to alleged discussions between high-ranking Justice Department officials about invoking the 25th Amendment to remove the President of the United States. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting, isn't it? Yeah, he wants those documents about the discussion. Remember Rod Rosenstein saying, oh, I'll go in and wear a wire, wanted to trap him so that they could get him removed from office under the 25th Amendment that says if a president is unable to fulfill his duties, either for health reasons or for mental health reasons, he can be removed. So that is what they were attempting, because they attempted everything else. They tried to get him on everything else. You know, you've got Stormy Daniels, you've got Russiagate, you've got all sorts of things they tried to get him on. Nothing could stick. So they thought, well, let's just see if we can prove he's crazy. That didn't work either. So anyway, I'm not going to read this letter. I don't think it's necessary for us to understand exactly what's going on. I think we get it. I think we all get it. Now, here is the next one, and it's got a link to a Twitter page, and here is the tweet, which I've clipped out for us, and it says, I think they all need to watch that video Q Plus linked us to. Now, that is the video that says our movement, and it says this video will get Donald Trump elected. I think we've all seen it. We've probably all seen it multiple times. I'm unable to link to it because, well, you know, collective eye roll. Okay. Yeah. I know. My mother used to say, your face is going to stick that way. Anyway, here we go. Remember this one where he had all of these links to the exact same video. I don't know, I'm having brain fade right now. Okay, so he put all these links. Well, here, this person, Enoch, I follow this person on Twitter, actually, very interesting. Provide a lot of interesting stuff if you want to follow them. And they placed it alongside of this. Senate votes 59-41 for terminating President Trump's border emergency declaration. 12 Republicans joined all Democrats in voted for. Well, that's not very well written. 12 Democrats joined the Democrats in voting against Trump's border emergency. That is exactly what that should say. So there was 12 of them, 12 Republicans that went against Trump and voted against his national emergency at the border, which I don't know how anybody with more than 2 neurons to rub together can say that there is not an emergency on the border. How? How can anybody say that? Thinking human being. say that. Now, either they're not privy to all the information to make up their own mind, or else they're stupid. I'm sorry, but you've got the IQ of a soap dish. If you have seen everything that's been out there and you still deny that there's an emergency at the border. Really? Like, seriously, they shouldn't let you out on your own. But I'm just saying, because literally, if you've been privy to the information that's out there that's been provided by Trump and Q and a lot of other alternative media people, then you know it's a crisis. So what's with these 12 Republicans? Well, the swamp, it's not just full of Democrats. There's a lot of Republicans swimming around there with the gators as well. So this is interesting because Trump, and we know that this is Trump because it's Q plus, Trump listed this video 12 times, one for each name. Alexander, Blunt, Collins, Lee, Moran, Murkowski. Well, Murkowski's very easily swayed. That's Lisa Murkowski. Is that her name? The one that Feinstein was, posturing with. And anyway, Paul, Portman, Romney, Rubio, Toomey, Wicker. Isn't that interesting? That I wondered when he did that. I thought he's got a reason for posting this 12 times, but for the life of me, I don't know what that is. Well, now we know. It was he posted it once about our movement, how wonderful our movement was, and what he was going to accomplish. He posted that once for every traitor in his own party, and they are traitors. They know what the people want. They know what the people want, but they're just too afraid of the Democrats. All right, let's go on. Got some interesting stuff. And we've got this, and it's not meant for us. It is towards the Code Monkey. Code Monkey, of course, being on the 8chan board. And Q is telling Code Monkey, stay alert, Q. So there's obviously an attack against the board, or there's some reason that Q needed to take that time and warn Code Monkey. So, but that's not necessarily for us to know, other than the board was in some sort of danger. All right, we're going to go on. Yes, we are. And here we are. Now, this, Q has placed this in here from an anon, and this anon says, nothing to see here, just 2 random call signs logged today. Well, look at what those 2 random call signs are. USAF C5 Galaxy, Q. That's the call sign. U.S. Army UC 35A, Anon. That's the call sign. Don't you think that's interesting? Well, explain that to me, all you people that say that this is a LARP, that all you people that say that this is a young teenager in their basement, in the dark basement, eating SpaghettiOs. How does that happen? I think it's very interesting. Q obviously thought so too. And then Q says, powerful statement of unity, Q. So that's pretty awesome if you ask me. And here is something also that I found a little interesting, because March 15th, an anon says, you are slipping, boss. Already made notes, Keck. Now, what he's talking about here, you are slipping, boss, already made notes, that has to do with the happening in NZ, the happening that we've all heard about. That's what that has to do, because it says, you are slipping, boss, already made notes, Keck. And Q responds, busy saving humanity, Q. I'm busy saving humanity. So let's go on. And here is the next. And this is a direct quote, I believe, from POTUS, I do believe. I have the support of the police, the support of the military, the support of the bikers for Trump. I have the tough people, but they don't play it tough until they go to a certain point, and then it would be very bad, very bad, he told Breitbart on Thursday, and then tweeted out the remark, coordinated, same day, how much more obvious can we make it? Q. So I'm going to read to you this decode. This is a note from a Breitbart interview with POTUS. Donald Trump had tweeted right afterward, and then news came through regarding the shootings, so he deleted the tweet. Sorry, the deleted tweet site is down at this time, no image. So that is what that had to do with. He had made a tweet and released it, and then right after the news of the shooting, so he removed the tweet. All right, let's move on. Now, obviously, we just had him saying to Code Monkey to be alert, be on guard, and we've got security test 1, Q, security test 2, relay, _2, Q. So we can only assume that he is doing some testing to see if the site is still secure. And isn't it interesting that with all that has happened with the shooting, that they now want to take down the 8chan board? They're saying that the shooter was posting on 8chan, and so now they need to take that down because it could be used by other killers. I mean, so obvious, so transparent. These people are so transparent. And you know why they're making a target of 8chan. Come on. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to get Q where he posts. He knows that the whole world is on that board watching for those posts and listening. So, yeah, they want to take that board down so that they can eliminate that. Now, where are we here? Let's go on. No, really, let's. Okay, here's something interesting. No, really, it is. Now, here is POTUS's watch, and we know it's his because remember me saying that that watch, IWC, cost about $8,000, so not like the average person could just, I was reading somewhere and people were arguing saying, oh, nobody knows that's POTUS watch. Right. How many people do you know that walk around with an $8,000 watch? And I don't even know. This one could be worth more. But some of those watches, IWC, they're around $8,000. You're not just going to go in there and, well, let me buy that out of my petty cash. No. So, anyway, here's the watch, and here it says the clock is ticking. If we are merely a so-called conspiracy, fake news narrative, why the daily attacks by the biggest media companies in the world? Attempt to control? You are the news now. Q. And underneath it says marker 1 complete. And it says there's a link here to 45_schedule to the Twitter, and we're going to go out. Well, actually, we're not going to go out. I've already clipped it out for us, and it says VP to POTUS after veto. I don't know that I've ever been more proud than to be here standing next to you today. That was by Pence and to Trump, and underneath it says March 15th, declaration of a national emergency on the southern border was authorized by U.S. Attorney General William Barr in the Oval Office at 3:42 p.m. Eastern Time. And what does this watch say, which was posted a while back? It says 3:42. Sure does. It's 3:42 on this watch, on the nose, 3:42. Now, let's go on. And what was the date it was posted? Here is the other watch picture. Remember when Q told us to pay attention to the watch? It used to be watch the pen, and then it was pay attention to the watch. So the two times that the watch was posted, The once it said 3:15. The other time it said 3:42. The declaration of emergency, the emergency declaration was signed on 3:15 at 3:42. Yeah, not a coincidence. Not a coincidence at all. So this was the second one, and that was a year ago. Will POTUS be at Camp David tomorrow? Matters of national security. The clock is ticking. Follow the watch. Follow the watch. So the next time we had the watch, it was at 3:42. On March 15th, 3:15 Q. The watch pictures are another future proofs past example. POTUS schedule tweet showed today's date, March 15th, and the veto was signed at 3:42. Both these times have been previously given us via watch pictures. Very interesting. Very. Let's go on. And of course, then an anon provided the graphic. Watch number 1, 3:15, posted January 5th, and watch number 2, posted March 2nd, with at 3:42. So I would say, how did Q know? How did Q know if he's not in on this, if he's not right there with POTUS? Don't know. The real fun starts soon, Q responds to this anon who put this graphic together because it helps people to see it side by side. Absolutely it does. But Q responded and says, the real fun starts soon. Q, well, what fun is that, I wonder? I guess we'll have to stay tuned. Now, this is interesting as well. I'm not going to go out and read all this because we are aware of it. Those of us that have been following this are more than aware of John McCain's role in shopping around the dossier. That's what he did. He shopped it around. Eventually, BuzzFeed picked it up, published it. So this is merely confirmation of what we Anons already know. No Name McStain shopped the anti-Trump dossier around to potential takers. BuzzFeed published it shortly thereafter. So that we've known, and we've known because Q told us a whole long time ago. And here we are. Here is another, and let me see, go up to here. Q is giving us a link to the Justice Department, and this is, I've clipped that out for us. Former Defense Intelligence Officer pleads guilty to attempted espionage. Now, I'm not going to go out and read all the nitty-gritty of that either because I don't think it's pertinent to what we are looking at here. It is, obviously, Q has provided it for us to look at, but the important thing is to know that a former defense intelligence officer has pled guilty to attempted espionage. That's big. And it also shows that there's a big cleanup going on. So Q linked to a post from the DOJ. A former DIA agent pleads guilty to espionage involving selling top secret intel to China. Eventually, the traitors are being, evidently, the traitors are being rounded up. And amen to that. That's exactly what we want to see done. We want them rounded up. Now, as far as I know, that is the last link from March 15th. It is now the 16th. So let me go out and see if there's anything that's been posted today. I do believe that that is the last link, and I do believe that that brings us up to date, which means hopefully later tonight I can bring you a Q-related news. This takes a while to pop up, but I just want to be sure that we're all caught up. And we are. So Q may post later this evening. I don't know. It's still early. It's only 6:12. So there you go. Now I'm going to stop there, and hopefully I'll be back later tonight. I do have a bunch of other stuff to bring. So I am going to run some errands and then come back, but I did want to get that uploaded so that you guys can be looking at it, and also so that we can catch up from yesterday. So there you go. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you all, and I will be back soon. Have a good evening. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. See you hopefully later.